Yeah. I would like to thank once again to Niklas that he jumped in so spontaneously.
No worries.
But I think that's a topic that is right now very famous, and there are a lot of articles in newspapers, in scientific papers everywhere about the Moocs. Probably you have heard already, you even participated in one, and I'm looking forward to a very interesting discussion tool.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. First of all, two things. Thanks, Peter, again for last night. He's really the best DJ in the world. And the other point is, let's really talk and discuss about. So, if you have any questions, or if I'm too fast, if you need more basic information, please ask, and yeah, keep that in mind. Okay. So we'll talk about Moocs, about really some basic ideas, because I do not know what you already know about it, and some challenges they have to face. First of all, just remember, actually, massive open online courses are based on the theory of Downs that you already know, the connectivism, because we talked about it in our presentation. Tim and I presented it to you. Down theory about learning in communities and learning as a network, and keep your learning, actual. So just keep that theory in mind, because it will be important to understand one of the basic ideas about Moocs. What is a Mooc? Yeah, it is a massive open online courses, but what does that mean? Yeah, what is massive? Massive is maybe 1,000 participants, 10,000. There are even Moocs with about 100,000 participants. Actually, it's it doesn't really depend on the on how many participants to take part in the course. But the big Moocs, as you will see them in Coursera or edX or Udacity, they're famous because they participated about 100,000 people in it, about that coding Mooc, for example, by Sebastian Thrun. And I'll just give you all of the fields. It is open. That's an important point, because what means open in this context? Open, it actually means, by the idea of Moocs, of Downs, that you have no fees. You have open resources as content, which means open educational resources. That means that the materials are licensed under a Creative Commons license, which allows them to reuse them, to remix them, and that is an important point. Whoa. Hello. Yeah. So it's an open registration. It's free of charge, and it should be affordable for everybody. Online is quite an important point as well, because those courses do, of course, take part online, which means the materials are available online on a platform or in a community. That depends on the format. The communication in between the participants is mostly online, some in Force or in Google Plus communities, wherever, with Skype, with Hangouts, however they want to participate and to communicate and to exchange their ideas together. That's the idea. If it happens, that is another point, and we will discuss about it later. And then the thing about the course. That's maybe the most interesting discussion about the Moocs, because some of them say, it's a course, it's got a starting date and an end date, it takes 10 weeks, we get special contents, we prepare them for you. For example, if you have a look at some X Moocs, then, sorry, yeah, they are built up like that you have video inputs. For example, about economics, you've got some basic video inputs, then you've got some questions to that videos or some multiple choice tests. And after that, you go to a curriculum which lasts, for example, 10 weeks, and then you finish the course and get a certificate. But there are also courses which are more community-based, which are based on a learning community, which are called those connectivistic Moocs. And they are based on the idea of Downs. And there it is more about the learning community, learning together with others, as we talked about it already. Yeah, not being, sorry. The information are not given to us by videos or stuff like that. You are the information, and all the people that participate are the information of that course and bring their information and their background in it. So, yeah, is that did you get the basic idea about Moocs? Who has already participated in a Mooc, maybe? Daiga, yeah, Tim as well. Okay, already expected. So yeah, those are the basic ideas about Moocs, and of course Moocs they're famous, and a lot of people like them and know them, and especially the university want to force them. But there are also difficulties and challenges which the Moocs have and the Mooc providers have to face with. For example, there's a big problem about the dropout rate, which means, of course, in some courses 100,000 people participate, but for example, yeah, 1,500 finish it. So there is a dropout rate about 90–95%. And another problem is the accreditation, the certification. Could we get it into a curriculum for schools or universities, which I would like to talk about as well. And especially those XMOOCs, like Coursera, they are criticized for that instructional design because they just bring an old learning theory to the web. And there's nothing special. They do not use all the possibilities which the World Wide Web allows to learn and to build up learning environments. And then there's another point about the transparent students, because they track the learning activities by learning analytic tools. They know how long do you take for what kind of exercise, which mistakes did you make, and stuff like that. So, is it really like that? Like Coursera, who's maybe the biggest provider of Moocs, is it really like that, that everyone has access to world-class education? And is it really like Udacity, another big player in MOOC providers, says education should be less passive listening, no long lectures, and more active doing? So, yeah, that was just a short input from my side about MOOCs. And yeah, those guys who already participated in, what was your experience about it? Did you like that way of learning? Was it an XMOOC and a CMOOC? Maybe, Daiga, you can tell about your experiences.
Yeah, the first time when I discovered that there is such kind of thing, I was just really, really hungry to just discover what kind of things I can get there. And it's really overwhelming because it's each and every field that you can imagine, starting from, there's this edX, which is, for example, the university that created is MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, and the University of Texas. So basically the leading units, and you can get anything starting from just appreciation to coding and kind of world maths and humanities. It's innovation, education, creativity, just everything. And so yeah, at first I was just really overwhelmed, and I think I started pilot them. Well, the dropout rates are perfectly exactly describing the situation. I think I didn't finish anything. But so at first whenever I spoke with other people who tried them, it was the same case in the very beginning, that you just want to get And well, it's just way more than you maybe can not handle, but it depends on your motivation actually. What is the reason why you're doing that?
Yeah.
And that was my question, why I kind of tried to analyze why it ended up like this. And but all in all, that was interesting experience from time to time. Anyways, like I end up in some kind of. But what I do there, I stay there for just some time, and I try to figure out just something from out of that, which is not the most efficient way of doing that.
I dropped out either, and yeah, my biggest problem was that they talk about online collaboration and you can exchange with people from everywhere and all over the world, and yeah, of course they participate people from all over the world, but those forums, those communities which they discuss in, they're totally chaotic. You do not have any structure, any moderation. You have no overview what is already discussed and where can I ask what for, and that was really my biggest problem, and I guess that's the problem of a lot of people who participate in those courses. Yeah.
Many times there are also a lot of different tools used, so you really have to get tracked on the right tools, because you have the forum here, this one there, information there,
exactly.
Videos on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. So you have a lot of different kind of sources, and you can somehow keep track of all of them.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just out of curiosity, I think 4 or 5 people already made a Mooc.
Yeah.
Who finished the Mooc?
Yeah.
I finished.
You finished?
I've been in 3. I finished 1.
You finished 1.
Finished what's right, the exam?
Yeah, go to the receipt, to the patch or whatever.
Yeah. Tim?
I finished yours. Ours, whatever. Yeah.
The connectivist Mooc, I will present it later on. Yeah. Okay. This is just to give you an impression how such a Mooc platform is built up. No, maybe cannot. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, syllabus on the side, the course structure, introductory video, and in the middle you can see, it's like a normal online course. So, to be honest, nothing really special about it. Yeah. And then you got that resources week by week, which are most of the time, as I already said, videos. Yeah, like this, short description, watch on YouTube, and most of the time self-produced videos. And to give you an impression about the discussion forums, maybe you can you can follow me what I mean. Yeah. Forum, all threads. Threads, page 1, up to 16, and it's just a small Mooc, I would rather say. So yeah, it's really chaotic, and it's really hard to get the idea and to get the overview what activities are going on. And if you if you have in mind the idea that Downs had with that connectivistic approach to learn and to learn with each other, can you see anything in it? They maybe try to, but I guess it's really difficult to have it with such a big a big number of participants. Those connectivist learn approach. Yeah.
I think it's also challenging. We discussed it yesterday. When you really have to see Moocs, it can happen that you don't know at the beginning what will be the end. Because an idea in the CMOOC is that the community itself somehow is guiding and leading the way it goes.
Yeah.
So there is no curriculum or something like that we are normally used to. Just imagine you start the learning process together with thousands of people, with different backgrounds, different countries, different time zones, whatever, and you don't know what will be the end, what I will learn at the end.
And you just got a topic, for example, digital education, and then they say, okay, build a community and go on. What do you think about? And then you have to do that structure on your own, and I guess that's quite difficult, especially if we talk about yeah, certificates or giving marks to stuff like that. And do we have to give marks for learning activities in a MOOC? Do we have to put it into that structure that we all know, like school, university?
But of course, it's one big aspect of this collectivism, that people are creating it together. And
yeah, of course.
But then again, it boils down to motivation while you're there. And for me, the key word for all that, and what I took out of that, and when I continue to think of way more, is learning to learn skills. And because that is definitely what you need when you end up there. And this is, in my opinion, this is also my way how I translate the drop-off rate. Okay, not just that, of course, you just pop up there and just check it out and that's it. But all in all, in my opinion, for this idea to function, if we want it to function, learning to learn skills is the word for that.
you have to be ready to share and participate a lot. It's not like you're going to the class, you sit there, you just sit there for an hour and then you leave the classroom and you have to learn for an exam.
Yeah. And just to go on the back channel, thanks for that ideas about it, wherever wrote it. Yeah, where comes the money for a MOOC? That's even a big question, because of course they are for free, but we already talked a lot about free tools in the internet and free stuff. And as I already told about the transparent student, yeah, of course you enroll for free and you have no fees for the course, maybe some fees for a certificate at the end, but in general you're tracked. They know everything about the way you participated in that course, how long, when, where, which exercises, in which row, and stuff like that. And this is what you pay for, because they sell those status, especially in America, and especially, for example, Coursera or Udacity. They sell it to enterprises because they want, yeah, they want to make money out of that data. They have to, yeah, to finance that system somehow.
And my question maybe to everyone: in what way do you see this as, if higher education is given to, well, a massive internet giant, and you know what, that anyways, if something is online, it tends to merge into something one and big. How do you see the higher education and the, well, what might happen to them?
Will it still exist or will it go down?
Well, yeah.
Could it be replaced by Moocs? Could Moocs replace university? Could you imagine that you just study in Moocs and do not go anymore to the university?
Because there are such ideas that some universities, they cover the first stage of the studies with Moocs. Because anyways, you do remember, okay, it depends on the subject, but the first year studies, especially in technical fields, they tend to be very lectures and you're just taking that, and it just says, yeah, at this point you're just taking it. So to a certain extent, the first year studies, it can be easily replaced by it. And some universities are thinking about it. Goodbye.
Welcome.
But I disagree with you, because learning is so much more than just getting some facts. It's about the social component of learning. The schools may be more important, but also in university, when I think back to what I learned during my first years of university, it's most probably not the facts that I will first remember, but the situations I've been in and capabilities of handling those situations. That's what I learned in school, in university. And I doubt that I could learn the same thing with MOOC.
So you do not want that kind of tendency to happen?
No, I mean, it is the big advantage that people aren't able to participate, which are otherwise excluded from the process, maybe from geological reasons. But I think, if anything, it should be additional and not replacing the university.
But then again, the demand for higher education. That's not like, because this is the response to the high demand for it.
Yeah.
And how we can deal with it.
Do you have an idea as well?
Then we are going to lose the human interaction. Because if you take a year or two through these courses, and then you have to go to school. Why should I go to school? Can learn at home. We're not going to go. Because you're used to it, that you don't have to. It's just simple, I think.
Sorry again, you're used to what?
You're used to it that you learn at home. For a computer, you don't need to go anywhere. And I think that's just cheating.
Yeah, so there are a lot of countries which are in the situation almost. Like if you go to the North Finland, Norway, where the distance is huge, there are not so many people.
Yeah, in those cases it's okay, but if it was general. General, yeah, in Australia too. So there are huge distances between the house and the second one, in the middle of it. That's okay. So in there, and they have another option. But if we take it that you live in a flat, 5 minutes from your flat is your university, then you don't go because you can learn it from home. That's what I meant.
It's not only a question of distance, or in that example that you give, because in this moment, some of our political decisions are thinking about only financial questions. In Portugal, they are reducing the investment in schools.
Okay.
And it's not so crazy thinking about the solution of courses like Moocs. I don't agree with only doing courses. With Moocs, but it's not so crazy that we think that it's a really possibility, because it's less expensive, but the results maybe not will be not so good. But they have these ideas. In Portugal, some legislation is going in this way, by giving more information and studies at distance.
Okay.
Your university works
Yeah.
They're kind of a mix.
But maybe everybody knows that this university is.
They are presenting
Professional
sessions, but
others.
yes, most sessions are by computer.
But are they for free?
No.
Okay.
But it's e-learning. It's e-learning, not Moocs.
Yeah, okay.
But in
It's
Moocs,
different.
sorry, in Moocs you have the supervisor of the teachers, or no?
Guidance.
You do not have a supervisor. You do it on your own. That is the point. You have to learn on your own. That's a big difference. They just offer the content, but how and when and where and if you understand it, that's your problem. And if you want it like that, yeah.
And you get your certification by doing.
Yes.
Yeah, you can get it. Of course, you can get it. And this is what many people wants to, because I forgot about that. Most of the courses at Coursera are from universities like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and wow, how huge would it be if I have a certificate by a university like Harvard? Awesome. So they enroll, they take part, and maybe they get their certificate, but it has actually no value, that certificate, because there is no curriculum or stuff like that around it. It leads not to a grade in the end, to a master degree or stuff like that. But no, that's the big difference to your stuff that you're doing.
Yes. I just participated in a Mooc attended in June.
Okay.
It was delivered by a Portuguese university.
Mm-hmm.
And,
By university? Okay.
Yes. Well, it gave a certificate with no value.
Credit points or?
No. But it was very structured. Very structured. We had these tests we had to do, and deadlines to provide them. Somewhere we will share our reflections. Interaction was very low.
Mm.
But it was quite fun. The providers they provided the content, videos, and text.
So XMOOC. Yeah.
Yes, it was a MOOC, and we paid nothing. We only have to pay for the certificate if we want it. Don't want it. But
You have to pay for a certificate,
this
yeah.
was very structured. Well, it too lost in too many channels. That few channels of communication.
Mhm.
It went
So they were limited.
And then I'm asking,
So-
what's the difference between a MOOC and an online course, normal online?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was
Yeah, but what's the difference then? What is the difference between such a course or such a MOOC that you did and a
And-
normal online course?
like an e-learning, difference.
Like when you have an online course, you know, like thousands of courses are online right now. What's the
But
difference?
we had a constant feedback from the teachers.
Tasks.
We have
Yeah,
You
but you can have it
deadlines.
in a normal online course as well. You don't have to have
Keep
a
your
MOOC
point.
for that.
Yes, it's old.
Just talk to everybody, not on in that small group, because I guess the others are interested in that discussion as well. Yeah, at least they look like.
An online course, it means we have a teacher, we have tasks, exams, all the things.
But you can have it in a MOOC as well.
Yeah.
So what
But
makes a MOOC to a MOOC?
Is less chaotic.
It's
Because
the
in a
number of participants.
Yes. In a MOOC, if you
Perhaps.
you
Yes,
have
no limit.
a zillion participants, how can I read all the stuff, participate, have feedback? It's difficult.
Yeah, we were about 150 participants in this one.
It's, for me,
It was in Portuguese, so.
No.
Okay.
for
But
me,
probably if you would say 150 participants was in the MOOC, a lot of people will argue and say
That's not a MOOC. Yeah.
because a MOOC is from 1,000 or 2,000 up. That's what.
Well, it's, yes, if it's delivered in English. When it's delivered in Portuguese, it all reduces the number of participants. It was specific topic, special education, inclusive.
In the MOOC, you need some professional abilities. Because in our
Participate.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, but not just only talking about the Portuguese MOOC. There are some other points as well. No, I agree with you, and it's interesting
Maybe it's
about your
different,
experiences.
because in the e-learning, we need have example. In my university, I need to have a certificate. I am not uma pessoa qualquer, ou seja, tem que ter curso.
You have to be.
Yes, I am a teacher in the MOOC. Maybe I am
Well, they usually are
a
delivered by
electricist, and I can get into the courses.
to provide.
You understand?
Okay, another point,
If
yeah.
I understand correctly, you get what you get from an online course or a MOOC, or I don't know if there's a difference between the two, the way you speak about that, is the fact that you are certified, that you have a certain amount of information on a topic. For example, clinical psychology.
Mhm.
But it doesn't make you a clinical psychologist. It doesn't say that you can assess people. It doesn't say that you can notice when the kids in your class have anxieties. So it doesn't teach you abilities, skills. It just gives you some information. So why would you need a certificate to say that you have information on clinical psychology? You can read it by yourself at home.
Just to that point,
This is the point, and maybe because of that the dropout rates are so high. And from what you said, it's also interesting that it would be interesting, I think, to research the dropout rates in MOOCs where your freedom to learn is very high. Compared to the ones when you have tasks, you have, you are rewarded for a task where you are punished because you don't have your task done. No? And this, people seem to be more involved in the courses when they have this kind of consequences on their behavior.
yeah, and I guess
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that the purpose of participating in a MOOC is not to get a degree or not to get a certificate. It's only to get the information and the knowledge and to share it and to learn something.
That should be the idea,
Yes.
maybe. That should be.
So
But
that's why the sharing of information makes sense, but in a MOOC without interaction, why would you?
There's always interaction because we have to read all the others' words and comment. But this one, another one I participated. We had online conferences, weekly online conferences. We shared all the artifacts we made. We shared and we comment on each other's works.
okay. Do you have another idea? Did you put your finger up? No? Ah, okay, so you just... Ah. Okay.
I have a strong question towards that because partially I totally agree to that. But partially, the discussion that I kind of also try to follow with is I'm not quite sure about my opinion actually, to be honest. To what extent then, for example, non-formal education should be appreciated, should be recognized, should be looked as something that is of high value because people are just interested in so many different things. You can do philosophy plus arts, plus physics, plus biology, plus everything else. And to a certain extent, yes, I do agree that, okay, what does it mean? Will my CV or whatever, will this have a value in the end? But maybe it should, maybe it should not. I'm also curious.
Even the brings
That's
us
a
a
good
little bit
point.
away from Moocs, but it's the same discussion what we had the other day with Europass.
Yeah.
You can write all the non-formal education that you made, but you have, I don't know, 20, 30 pages. And it gets completely...
I think it's a big difference between non-formal education and this kind of education at the means of
Why?
well, because of interaction is different, I think.
How can you measure what was gained?
You have means to do that, but I don't think that's the issue.
Just to give another input again, what do you think, could those courses, which are just online and online available, really empower people all over the world to educate themselves with their interests and stuff like that? Is it really possible to realize that higher idea of building all people, giving education to everybody? Thank you.
Yeah, I think what is in our society, that what I'm going to say doesn't happen, but I think what is important is to have the knowledge and not have the degree or the title.
Is it really? In our society?
In our society, that's not true. What's important is to have the degree or the title. But
okay. Yeah.
Really what matters is to have the knowledge, and that's a way to spread knowledge.
Yeah, but do the people who do not have that many knowledge, do they really have access to that? To those courses, to information like that, offered in that way?
They can be guided by others into that.
Even the 7-year-old boy in Africa who has no internet connection?
Well, it's kind of for me, I'm sorry.
You wanted to say... Oh, okay, sorry. Your point first.
It's fast points. It's a myth that in Africa there is no internet, because on the media we just see the rural villages, but there are cities in Africa too. So it's not like, you know, there's only villages and the water and everything. With this, but that we don't see anymore.
Yep.
This statement is, well, it sounds really nice, but the world as it is today, the differences are enormous still. So maybe here in Europe, if you live in a city, you don't maybe appreciate Moocs as much because you have access to all sorts of resources. But yeah, in Africa, maybe if you live in a city, you don't have such a huge choice for higher education. So I think some people evaluate this opportunity more than others.
Imagine, I live in a town which is 180 kilometers away from Lisbon. Okay, 200 kilometers away from Lisbon.
Okay.
Not much, right? If we had this university that gives e-learning, I couldn't attend university.
Okay.
It's not only true for African where there is no internet. If we hadn't this university.
So it's important for you to have this opportunity. Right? Okay. Wilke was first.
Yes, I want to say something in general, because when I understand it correctly, Moocs have huge potential to spread knowledge. Let's put it like this, very general. But if that's true, and if, I remember you saying it's very much about self-organization and about self-learning.
Yeah.
Then we need to go one step before in asking where do the students learn how to learn? Where do they learn the capabilities of self-organization?
That's a good point.
When you're discussing if Moocs has that potential, that's a very big question we have to keep in mind, because we all know it, because we've been to school and we also have university degree, so we are supposed to have capabilities of self-organization. But if you talk about rural areas, where can they learn self-organization and then participate in Moocs to learn also the science?
Yeah,
and can
that's an important point.
One more thing, the action is a very good idea, but now we don't see what other people are writing.
Scroll down.
Yeah.
Can I say something, excuse me, just let me say one last thing. Just because you live in a rural area doesn't mean you don't have the skills you can have. Three skills. Okay? When I teach in English, you're very young. When you grow older, you'll see that you don't have to go to school or university to learn some things.
Smaller.
Self-organization.
Ah.
To come back to your first statement, I think I completely agree that we are somehow used to a certain system to learn, because we are somehow taught to do like this from the beginning. And I guess that's the reason why those Moocs jumped in, because they are very similar to the system we already used to. Like you have a very clear structure, you have exams, you have to do this task, that task, and then you get your badge or your degree or whatever.
Yeah, they're much easier to compare to our structures and to give a certificate for it. If you remember the idea of that Moocs, of that connectivistics Moocs with, I give you the topic and you, the community, do whatever you like. It would be hard to give someone a mark, and maybe this is why the impact of the Moocs is much bigger, of course.
Just imagine you go into school, guys, and you ask the children, what would you like to learn? I give you just a basic, very basic topic.
Yeah.
And right now, if we have 2 months time, let's learn together.
Yeah. Where should we start? When should we end? What should we do?
What books we should use?
Yeah, exactly.
How's the final exam? The first thing what I'm getting asked from my students, what do we have to do to get a mark?
Yeah.
That's the first question when I start my lesson.
Yep.
And I'm not blaming them, because that's the system how it works. They were used to the system many, many years. They learned the system. They learned to cope with it.
The second question would be, how many pages does the project have?
Yeah.
How should I know how many pages?
I thought you had another point as well.
There was to the legal side in a way, a bit maybe another cup of tea, but there was an amazing experiment made by Sugata Mitra or something like that, the hole in the wall experiments about he put a computer in a slum and what happened with the way kids approached that and actually how quickly they just learned everything. It was just really amazing. If you don't want to read the articles, there is a fantastic TED talk, 10 minutes. So it was really amazing. And that you have to set up with.
Yeah, I'll put it on the back channel.
I put the link on YouTube. It's a great talk, I love it.
Okay, thanks.
School in the cloud.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, maybe to talk about that again, less passive, more active doing. You as becoming teachers, do you think it's a good way of giving information to the people, or a good way to teach? Is it a good way of learning? If you think about the Mooc, for example, or did you already finish that? You already talked about it a lot, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I suppose we still all love YouTube videos, especially TED Talks. So, well, it's not always passive listening. Maybe it's active listening actually. So.
Wouldn't it be nice to watch a video and have, you know, if you're separated in different countries or not at the same place, to watch one video together and have some kind of back channel to talk about it, like we have here?
Yeah.
And I guess that's already a little bit more of learning, because you reflect about it, you talk about it.
Yeah, and they try to do it as well in the Coursera Moocs, like those back channels in those forums, and talk about and discuss about the content. But yeah, that is a big problem, because no, it's not. It actually is a good idea, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work that good, unfortunately, in those big Moocs.
Well, for me, I'm always just thinking about, because all this stuff, because I mean, to a certain point, I feel that anyways kids need preparation for the world, the technologies in this more generation of the century is there, and we can't even predict to what extent it will evolve. But anyway, that is the future. But on another way, it's learning one skills that I see as important, that they will be anyways, they will handle that. So I'm always wondering to what extent it should be integrated, to what extent it should be squeezed into in the lower ages, already in the, I don't know, in secondary school, so that they are prepared for the higher education where they have the Moocs everywhere or something. And so yeah, what is that going to evolve? To what extent we need it, to what extent what is the best way to present it together?
Okay, yeah.
And I guess
Thank
it's
you,
also
Zafar.
an approach question, what kind of approach the student has, the learner has. Because normally when you go to the formal institutions, the typical approach is, I want to do as less as possible. Well, we all here are not a good example, because we don't have to be here. It was the decision of everybody to come here. So we are not the typical audience for that, because you could make it easier not coming here. So exclude ourselves right now. But basically, the general approach is, let's try to do it with the less effort as possible. Sorry to generalize. But that's not how a Zmook works.
No. And you have to respect that you chose it on your own to participate in. So there should be a basic motivation. Actually, there should be a basic motivation to be an active member of it. But that is another point. Some researchers complain about the lurkers in those courses who do not participate actively in the courses, and just grab the content, or grab some ideas. But is that really that bad? Should we punish lurkers somehow?
Please not, because I'm one of them.
Me too. And it's a good thing. And even if you just pick a tool which is cool, which you've never seen before, and you use it after that, that's great. Could be a benefit for me as well. Or for you, for everyone.
The question which just came up to me right now, is a lurker really a lurk in the meaning that he's not active? Because by lurking, he's already active.
Yeah, that's right. Because he actively does nothing but follows what the others are doing somehow, yeah.
He doesn't share, I wouldn't say he doesn't do anything, or he does nothing. He doesn't share actively something.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe it doesn't comment or stuff like that. But, okay. Yeah, well, thank you so far. It was just a short discussion. I just have a look.
There are some points
Other
at the
questions?
mention Xmooc. What is,
Yeah.
well, with a question mark, what is an Xmooc?
Okay, that wasn't clear. Oh, okay, well, and I didn't see the question.
Maybe that happened in the very, very beginning.
Sorry?
Or maybe someone wrote that in the very beginning.
No,
Yeah, sorry.
I explained it, but I forgot it again.
Okay, no worries.
It came up again.
The XMOOC is just that type of MOOC which we were talking about, like Coursera, with where you have that video inputs, and you just watch that videos, ask some questions about the video, have some multiple choice tests about the video contents, and like instructional design model on a platform. Yeah, and the CMOOC is that community-based MOOC, that connectivist MOOC. Yeah.
There is one more question on the back channel that we can't see here. Is about lurker. Maybe you should explain that.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, that's A lurker is, or I don't know an exactly definition, but a lurker is a people or a participant who do not share his knowledge with the others by writing some comments on the material or stuff like that. He just participates, he's enrolled, and he watches what the other people are doing, what tools do they share, what ideas do they share, but he do not comment on that, he do not argue with them or stuff like that. So he's more passive. Yeah. I do not want to attack you, I do it on my own as well. Yeah.
It's just listening mainly.
Yeah.
And reading. Sharing.
Listening, reading, but not lazy. He's not lazy. Yeah. Any other questions I didn't get, maybe because the screen is too small?
There's something about learning analytics comes into play with data. Is it possible to evaluate each student's learning meaningfully in the course of 1,000+ participants?
I cannot answer that on my own, and I don't know exactly which data in detail they track. But what I know, and that's somehow kind of scary, is, for example, how long did I take to solve that question, or how often did I watch that video? How many mistakes did I make in a multiple choice test and stuff like that? Isn't that already enough? Yeah.
And I think once again I would like to underline that learning data is something very private.
Yeah. Maybe this is a reason why some people lurk, because they do not want to ask silly questions. They are afraid of making mistakes if they ask something or stuff like that, especially in those forums or in communities. And so it's really private.
Especially when you're not used to such a way of communicating.
Yep.
If you never chatted, if you never used forum, like my students, they don't use such technology. They are not in this culture. It's a culture thing, as we had at the beginning. It's a culture thing. You have to learn it somehow. If you're not used to it, you're afraid. To make the first step to jump in the water is always painful and difficult.
And not only in online communities. Especially not only, but even there.
And then I think it's really the challenge as a facilitator to somehow bring and make the frame that people can feel safe, even in an online way. That's a huge challenge, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Any other ideas, thoughts, questions about Moocs in general, or Xmoocs, or CMoocs in detail? Nope. Ready for lunch? Okay, then, I would like to thank you all that you, participated in the discussion, and I hope you now know a little bit more about Moocs, and if there comes a question to your mind, then feel free and talk to me, or yeah, we've got some other Moog experts here, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Niklas, for
Yeah,
this
no worries.
great presentation. And yeah, once again thank you so much for being so spontaneous and coming in. Yeah, also thank you very much.